What is going on, everybody? Bobby Fi here. We're going to be talking through this 7-game early slate. Looking forward to getting into it. We're going to go game by game and talk through what we're going to do. I ran some initial stuff, so this is what I'm getting now. Keep in mind, it will not necessarily be what I'm getting when we're done. And I had a decent night, not a great night, not a bad night. It was a little frustrating. Perdomo smoked the hell out of one ball in the 8th inning that looked like it was going to break it open and give me, I think would have been like extra 22 points because my guys were on base. Then instead they caught it and it's still a sac fly, but it turned into a double play. And there was a lot more offense that I could have gotten out of that game after that if that one would have gone out. So that was a little disappointing, but it is what it is. We move on to today. I did want to mention again, code finals 2025 for 33% off of your first month. We do have a finals game today. We'll be live later for baseball and for the finals. And we've got some incredible packages. They're never going to be this cheap again. We're just converting. We're about to switch over to our new site. All the information is currently there with the regular site. You guys know the drill. We've got all of the pay dirt content. We've got all of the, all of the SaberSims, everything SaberSim has to offer, everything that Shell Sheets and Goldie's projections, everything. Anyway, sorry guys, excuse me. I'm in the middle of a fast here, so I'm a little bit shaky this morning. I'm not quite my full self. Anyway, check out the packages. We appreciate it. Also, give us a like and thumbs up and everything we see the video. We appreciate that as well. I'm going to share my screen now, and we are going to talk through it. We will do a golf show. I'm not sure what time yet exactly. I've got to get Kenny Hyder on with me, and we'll see what happens with that. All right, we're going to go game by game here, talk about what we like. It's probably going to be about a 20-minute show, maybe give or take, because I got to get my lineups done. All right, so the first game I tried to get a little closer to Goldie's projections, so I sort of split the difference on some of these guys, and then other ones I went even lower. I think I'm going to go even lower here. Tough pitching slate, by the way, for what it's worth. Not the most fun. This is a 4-pronger based on the nature of the slate. I think everything is in play. It's 82 degrees in Philly. You've got two really good offenses, although this is not the best Philly lineup you're ever going to see. Certainly not. It looks a lot different without Bryce Harper in there, as we've talked about. But I do like both sides of. I think this is a 4-pronger. I think you could talk me into Brown, Luzardo. Because we just don't have that much pitching. And I think that both Philly and Chicago are totally in play. I kind of think Chicago at low ownership is the one I'm maybe the most interested in there. But they're both kind of interesting. This whole first game is very interesting to me for tournaments. I don't think this is a slate where you need to set you could go with 5-man stacks. For what it's worth, I did limit my 5-man stacks. So when I ran builds earlier on, these were the stack types I was getting the most of. But I still think it's still pretty close, 4-3, 4-4, 5, 5-2, 5-3. But those are 15% instead of 30% each. All right. We'll move on because this game was sort of like I sort of thought like I was going to do. I can't decide which one to go with right now. But I will have exposure to all of them. And in my big buy-ins, I'm probably more on the offense, the bat side than I am pitching. Lodolo and Allen. I actually like Lodolo a little bit better. I'm going to just bump him myself just a tiny bit. I think he's a very reasonable option. And Logan Allen, like everybody's in play because there's no great options. It's 80 degrees in Cleveland with 10-mile-an-hour winds blowing out. This game with a little bit of a lower total. Obviously, like you have guys on smaller slates like this, like Jose Ramirez, who stand out. You do have the pinch hit risk with Cleveland in general. So it's something that I always get nervous about, like guys like David Fry, who tend to not stay in there the whole time. Gabriel Arias, usually in there, but not always. So just a little bit to worry about as far as some of the pinch hitting. But they have some cheap bats. So Lane Thomas, another one. But there are cheap bats, and you could take some shots. I do like Lodolo's upside just in general. I don't think this is the best matchup against Cleveland. But let me just see what we've got him at for strikeouts today, 5.34. It's probably going to be as much as you see for anybody. So say Lodolo is one of the main guys I'm focusing on today, but it's really just because of default. There's nobody who's great. We're going to have the massive Schwellenbach chalk. I'm probably going to eat it. And again, there's not a whole lot else I can say about that. It just feels like something we might need to do. Chad Patrick has actually been surprisingly solid. This game with the low total, I was expecting a little bit of a higher total from Atlanta. I think Atlanta's another team that we could put on the interesting contrarian stack list. they're not low. They're going to be low owned, and obviously has a lot of power in this offense. And I think they're kind of interesting as a, put them along with the Phillies and Cubs. And I think all those offenses make up for a lot of sense off of some of the chalk we'll get into in just a bit. Jumping over to Toronto and St. Louis, the games that seem to keep going over. Keep going over in the late innings. I don't like either of these pitchers, and I feel like I'm supposed to like these hitters. Now, Liberatore is another one that I seem to get him on the wrong ones. I didn't play a KC against him last time. I think that it's totally viable if you want to take a shot. It's going to basically be a bullpen game for what it's worth for Toronto. It's 87 degrees with some wind blowing out there. I think Toronto's another interesting contrarian stack. Guerrero's back in the lineup, but they've been hitting without him. You've got our hero from a few weeks back, Ernie Clement. And let me just see where the ownership is. I don't think we're going to get much ownership. Yeah, a little bit. So Toronto, put them in a similar category to Atlanta for me. But Liberatore has burned me a number of times this year. All right, the later games, a lot of advantages. One, there's some good hitting, and the other that you've got, some swappability. I am definitely going to get more than 4% of Brian Wu, and I am probably going to have less than the field on. Well, I'll probably be right nearish the field on Rodriguez. Brian Wu it's a terrible matchup, but it's he's really good, and I think that he can get through this matchup. Eduardo Rodriguez, totally viable, but I'm not overly excited about it. And I do think that I'm not going to stack Arizona, but I would certainly consider stacking Seattle. Seattle, Atlanta, and Toronto all fit into a similar category for me. They're all reasonable, but not the most desirable. But you can get different by playing them. They're just not getting enough ownership today, so I think it's kind of interesting. All right, let's just do this. JP Sears. So this is another one this one's probably going to get some offensive attention. 78 degrees in Anaheim. You have a nice 5 total for the Angels. This is a spot I expect to have some ownership in. I expect it to get some ownership. So I'm probably going to be a little bit lower on this game just as a result of the ownership, considering I mentioned the other stacks that I do like. But I mean, look, it's hard to argue against picking on Kyle Hendricks. It's hard to argue against taking shots against JP Sears in good hitting conditions. Although Sears every now and then, I still thought he was going to be a better pitcher than he's been. So I'm probably going to end up with a little bit less of this Angels and A's because they're going to be so popular. They won't be as popular as the Dodgers against Vasquez, and it's hard to argue with that. It's over 70 now. It's with the 8 mile an hour winds going out to right center in San Diego. It's going to be hard to ignore this one. The Dodgers playing a bullpen game again, and low-owned San Diego is very interesting to me, even after scoring 1 million runs last night. So I am I don't know how long they let Kasperius go for what it's worth. I don't think it'll be very long. I think it's going to be a bullpenish game. So let's just see what we've got for the projections. We actually don't even have they have it as a bullpen game. But they don't have Kasperius. So we'll see who ends up starting. They obviously haven't announced lineups yet, but I'm going to rerun things with some of the tweaks we just talked about. And I want to make sure of the pitching, nothing feels great to me. Schwellenbach is the one I feel the best about. I think Lodolo is the next best one, but he's a little more expensive maybe than we want to pay. I'll go a little bit higher on him. I just think he's a good pitcher, and he doesn't have to pitch in Cincinnati today. Luzardo, man, it feels bad against that Cubs team. Ben Brown feels bad against this Phillies team, although not as bad of a lineup as we've seen worse from them before. Brian Wu, I am a little higher on this. I'm actually going to go a little bit more because I just think he's a good enough pitcher to get through, and it's tough. Chad Patrick, we'll leave him there. We drop down Hendricks. I really don't want to do the Hendricks thing. I'm more okay with the Sears. We're just going to go sort by strikeouts for a second and see what we got here, just to try to find something. Luzardo does have that strikeout upside. That's the one thing. Schwellenbach, Luzardo, Lodolo, like that. Yeah. So Yeah, not a fun pitching slate, but what I am going to do is we talked about some of those stacks and some of those spots. I actually think there's some players that I highlighted. I already put an ownership on I put a minimum on Shohei and Ramirez just because they can like take over these slates. I think Tatis belongs in that category as well. And where is he? Oops. And then any questions or thoughts, guys, pop them in. I'll take a look in a second. I would like to get to some Tatis, and I want some of these stacks. And again, some of these are not going to come in as full stacks. We're going to try it out just in a bigger way here. So the Dodgers, I think we're going to get to some anyway, but I'm not going to overly force them in. I can always sub before, 3:40 Eastern time. So I am going to do. Let's see. I'm going to make sure that there's at least some San Diego's in there. Again, I can always swap off of this. I'm going to make sure we have the Chicago, Philadelphia, both sides I think are interesting here. Where am I? I wish it was in some sort of an order that I understood. All right, let's just do 6, not more than that, 7. I think the Cubs are the ones I'm going to hand build when I get out of here for my big buy-ins, and I think I'm going to end up with some Cubs. I just got the feeling that's going to be the way that it goes. Who else do we have? The Cubs, Philadelphia, Atlanta, Toronto. Toronto, we'll just put a little 5, and Atlanta, just at the interest of spreading out a little bit. Again, you don't need to tweak any of this. I think you can run Goldie's projections with SaberSim or SaberSim's projections. Usually I'd say Sheets also, but he's not here right now. He'll be back tomorrow, which we're looking forward to. And we'll do it like that. And the Angels, I want to keep these. I think the A's are going to be the one that gets the more ownership, right? Like, no, it's good. Well, they both will. I'm just going to cap them both at 25. I don't want to go crazy in the, one of the chalkier spots that I don't love as much. All right, so let's do that, and then we will rebuild. All right. K9 said Brewers lineup is in bad without Yelich. Got to eat it today, I think. What does that mean? Oh, yeah, and K9 asked about the Woo. I mentioned him. It's always hard to get, when you're doing solo shows, I'm going between screens. I can't see all the questions come up as I go, but I always try to get to them afterwards. And we got the finals back tonight. That's fun. What's up, my man, Rashad? Good to see you, man. I haven't seen you in forever. I almost said your name wrong because of it. What's up, buddy? I hope you're going to be joining us more often. Always good to have Rashad in here. We got the NBA Finals tonight. We'll do a live show later for that, along with the baseball small slate later. And yeah, it should be a lot of fun heading into the Open, and then I'm out of here in a couple of weeks, guys, for a little while, and then I'm gone. I'm in Vegas for the World Series of Poker. I'm traveling with friends and family, meeting up with old people I haven't seen in a while. Trips I've been putting off, but I've had some family stuff going on. I haven't really left town in for much more than a week in years, and going to take some time off. So I'm looking forward to that before football. But we have some NBA and some baseball to win before I get out of here. So let's not forget that. All right, so let's see what we're getting to. And again, I am going to be late swapping. I remind everybody, I think it's really, really, really important to late swap on baseball slates. It's not the same as basketball where you have to. It's not the same as, but it's similar to football, although not the same quite, but similar. Just because you're getting such an advantage by knowing not only what people have done, but really what the ownerships are that have come in so far. So I think it's really important that you remember to late swap. And last night I had a little glitch in my late swap. For some reason, I didn't have that much Giants, but I had Patrick Bailey ended up in a couple lineups, even though I swapped him out and I clicked all the buttons. I must have done something wrong with the importing. All right, let's see. Not going to be a great minimum destination ROI because I'm taking more of a risk. But really what I'm planning for is just these first 2 games right now because I'm going to change everything after. So I just want to make sure. Let's see what we got. I don't like this at all. So we're going to just immediately I'll say whatever to 10%, but we're gonna rebuild this. I don't want Cleveland as my main stack. If it gets there, so be it. They're cheap. I get it. There's plenty of other places to go that I like so much better. I don't think we need to just to play that. That's me personally. Other people might disagree. It's a great hitting weather game. I think Lodolo is a little bit better than the numbers are on him. So I've always been a Lodolo guy, and I am not going to get off of it quite yet. He has not been great, but he's not been terrible either. It's not like he's getting lit up. He had to face Arizona and twice in a row, and the Cubs twice in a row before that. That's forgivable. Now he gets a much better matchup. Still not a great one for pitchers for fantasy points, but certainly much better. All right, let's see what's going on. And remember, most of these for me are going to be in a lottery, so I'm going to probably I'm going to hand build my three big buy-ins. So what we're doing is really playing more towards the lottery here. And let's see. All right. Come on. All right, this feels a little bit better to me. This is much more stomachable. And again, I can always adjust after the first game. So really playing the first games, what are we doing pitching wise? And Schwellenbach, all the Schwellenbach basically, then Lodolo, Brown, Luzardo, Wu. Okay, this feels a little bit better to me. I don't love this Hendricks thing, but again, I've got some time to get rid of it. There's plenty of stuff left, so I'm just going to save that so we have something in there. Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Any 5-man stacks in my builds? Yeah, I have 5-man stacks. Look, I'll show you my 5-mans. Ooh, it's getting a little frozy. Yeah, I think probably like 30% of my stacks are 5-mans, maybe a little bit right around there. And the others are mostly it feels like it's 4-4 and 4-3. It may have changed a little bit after I did some things. Let's just take a quick look at stack exposure. I don't mind not having crazy stacks in the state. I like a lot of weird things. Yeah, so that okay. No, the 5-man's 15% each, but it's very spread out for me. I usually would knock these out, but I'm late swapping, so I'm gonna probably take care of most of it. And I actually don't mind getting a little bit weird. It's not like I'm gonna have 2-2-2-2s from the first 2 games. So it's gonna be more towards the late slide, especially if you look at the games that I've got available left. I've got San Diego, obviously Chicago. Well, Chicago first, but then Atlanta comes in an hour. The A's, Dodgers, those are all later. So that's the way I'm doing it. But I will be late swapping. Anyway, good luck to everybody today. I hope you guys crush it. We'll be live for some golf stuff later. We'll be live for some NBA, some MLB. It should be a fun day. Good luck to everybody. Hope you guys